Super Rugby round number 6, the Saturday games. Mostly the home team's getting the result, except for one team named the Blues, which is absolutely unusual, but it was a pretty unusual game. So yeah, interesting times. I managed to watch those two in full, that one mostly in full while I was watching the Six Nations at the same time, and then I watched highlights of the Bulls and Highlanders. So I go through my thoughts, and as always, you guys can let me know yours. But we'll start with the first one. The Blues get an away win over the Canes. It's the first time we've beaten them in ages. 24 points to 15. It's not a bonus point win. It's 3 tries to 2. The Blues, needed more players on the field to get a win over another New Zealand team, but I'll go over that in a tick. The lead changed a bunch of times, I think 5 times in this game, so it was definitely tit for tat. And the Blues were not out of it. It was pretty ugly. Let's be fair. This game was not a great ad for Super Rugby. It started slick. Like Ben Lamb's try, the start, Fifita's offload was phenomenal. 5-0 early to the Canes. That was pretty. And the Blues were lucky to be only 5-0 down, because the first 20 minutes, it was just all the Canes. It was all Blues tackling defense. The Blues did well to hang on, but I guess that's what good teams do. I'm not sure if the Blues are a good team yet, but so far their record this season is pretty good. Decent anyway. So, and then the Blues actually managed to score a try. 37 minutes, Akira Ioane on his, starting return to the Blues. After a 5-meter scrum, he manages to power over. He just hits the chalk, and they make it a Blues lead with 7 points to 5. Now, the Blues, being the Blues, immediately concede a penalty from the restart. So the Hurricanes go back in front, 8 points to 7, and that's how it was at halftime. So it was not a high-scoring half. It was a bit of reset scrums and knock-ons, and lineouts were pretty ugly on both sides. So I think there were at least 9 handling errors in the first half, and you only got 40 minutes to play, so that's one pretty regularly. Second half, the Blues defense was under pressure early again, and it held. But a key moment of the game is 47 minutes. Lomax with a shoulder hit on Perofeta, and he's red carded for it. I looked at that and thought, that's going to be red. And I had a conversation with my old man about it, and he's old school, so he thinks, refs need to show leeway, that should be a yellow, and I'm all for games not being ruined by red cards, but the one thing I do like, I guess, is a little bit that there was consistency with most of the stuff we've seen before. You kind of saw that one, and if you've seen games recently, the last 12, 18 months, you look at that and go, it's probably going to be red, and sure enough it was. So the Blues had an extra man for the majority of the second half. They made it count through Talea on 56 minutes. The TMO had to check whether he was in touch. It was pretty close, but they gave him the benefit of the doubt, which I generally like to see, not just because it's the Blues, but if it's the attacking team, on-field try, just give the try. There was no clear evidence that he was out, I thought. Blues fan here, though, remember. So 14 points to 8, the Blues back in front. However, the Hurricanes were not given up. Fun Fake got a try. The TMO checked his one as well. I'm not really sure what they were checking from the back of the scrum. Something about underhanded tactics at the scrum, but I don't know, man. He just came off the back of the scrum. The Blues were just too slow. They got that try from Evans off the back of the scrum to Fun Fake and converted it, so 15 points to 14. Hurricanes back in front, even though they were a man down. The score with the man advantage was 7 points apiece. However, and this one the Hurricanes have only got themselves to blame. Fifita, 67 minutes, and no arms, just a no arms shot. It's about as dumb as it gets. That one, there's no arguing with it. So the Blues go 2-man advantage, 13 on 15. Black kicks a penalty to put the Blues out in front. The penalty was right up in front. You'd think 2-man advantage, go for a try. Easy points, just at least get back in the lead. Some sides don't always kind of capitalize on the man advantage, so they went back in front if nothing else. So yeah, it was 17 points to 15. And then on 73 or 74 minutes, the Blues get a penalty try. The ref said there's a clear overlap. Jordie Barrett had a attempted intercept and got yellow carded for it. And my dad, when I talked to him, he was just like, nah, that's nonsense. But these days, if you go for a one-handed intercept and you don't get it, you're probably going to get yellow carded. That's just another one of those things. So the Blues go 24-15 up. They've scored 10 points with the 2-man advantage and start a 3-man advantage. Now, the Blues with a 3-man advantage are atrocious. They play terribly. They take a shot at a drop goal. Like, go for a bonus point, man. What are you doing? They play terribly. So, despite the fact they had a man advantage, the Blues, they kind of cruised in or scraped by. They did enough, but they certainly didn't kind of blow the Hurricanes away. But the Hurricanes, in terms of the ref, were on the wrong side of them. And, Fafita's one especially was pretty dumb. So, yeah, full time. Blues 24-15. Away win over a New Zealand team. Very rare occurrence for the man from Auckland. So, they'll take that all the way to the bank. Run meters, Blues 485, Canes 396. Position and territory were pretty even. Line out percentage, Canes 71, Blues 77. Both sides were poor. Tackling percentages both in the low 80s. The Canes made 137, the Blues 113. So again, pretty even. Penalties conceded, 14 to the Canes, 11 to the Blues. So not really lopsided. Decent crowd, I thought. Some areas looked pretty packed and other areas looked pretty sparse. So, yeah. Jordie Barrett had 61 run meters, 7 defenders beaten and a yellow card. Talea had 134 run meters, 11 defenders beaten and 4 clean breaks. He has been exceptional this year and continues to be so. So, yeah. Good win for the Blues, man. They just needed to keep getting some wins before Bodie. We'll try and get Jordie as well before Bodie arrives, and they're doing it. So they got the Lions next week, Saturday next week. That's an early game. It's like a 4:25 kickoff, and the Lions have not been in great form. So that would be, it would be like the Blues to go beat the Hurricanes away and then lose to the Lions at home. But we'll see. And the Hurricanes, a tough away trip to the Chiefs. So it doesn't get any easier. The next one, Rebels against Lions. To be honest, this game wasn't all that pretty either. It had its moments. But, I was feeling a wee bit just tired at the end of the day. And this game was doing enough, but wouldn't have taken me that much to nod off, to be honest. But yeah, I've been tired. Anyway, the Rebels, though, it's a great victory because this is a game where it could be a turning point potentially for each team. I mean, the Rebels have been okay. They desperately needed a win at home, and they got it. The Lions, with only one win thus far, were also in desperate need of a win, and they couldn't pick it up. The Rebels had lots of pressure early. They couldn't score. Eventually, they took 3 at like 12 minutes to make it 3-0, but they should have had more up. Lions went very close. Rebels' defense held. Callaway got a try. He's been in top form. A step and some gas. 8-0. Korobidi got yellow carded. They got a second yellow card to English as well later on. So the Rebels did it tough. 20 minutes with a man down. But they did manage to score during the yellow card. At one point, they were up 15-0. Although the Lions did get Olingo's try during a yellow card as well, so it was kind of 7 apiece during the yellow card. But yeah, you think the Lions, in terms of taking advantage of the yellow card, it's another one of those teams that didn't really kind of capitalise. Nosarani got a try back of a maul. There was one tackle on one of the Lions guys. I think it was Schoolman the lock. And they just grabbed the back of his shirt and it stretched to about double its normal size. That was Sankarangi. Got that tackle on. So a bit of desperation from the Rebels. But yeah, other tries to Dane Hallett-Petty. And the last one to Callaway, who's been in top form. Deegan's pass to him was pretty slick. the TMO checked it, but it was all good, and it was 37-17, which in the end is a pretty comfortable scoreline. Like, this game was just kept popping up with nice moments every kind of 10 minutes or so. As I said, there were moments that were a bit ugly, but you cannot take it. It's a big win for the Rebels, bonus point win. The Brumbies are still looking like the team in the Aussie Conference, but the Waratahs are looking pretty poor. So it's kind of between the Rebels and the Reds to decide who's going to pick things up. But the Rebels are the ones getting more wins than the Reds at the minute. Run meters 379 to 461, so the Lions actually had more. Lions slightly more position and territory as well, but the Rebels line-out was operating much better, 84%. The Lions were at 73. Tackling percentages, the Rebels were higher, 84 to the Lions 80. They had to make more tackles, 123 to 97. Callaway, as I said, he's in top form. 71 run meters, 3 defenders beaten, 3 clean breaks. Massane and Ori both had decent tackle counts, 12 to Massane and 13 to Ori. But yeah, it was nice to hear the crowd chanting Rebels at the end of the game. So they were making themselves heard. Again, the crowd there wasn't great. It was all right for a team that's been kind of lower middling so far this season. But good to see them kind of make themselves heard toward the end of the game, added to a bit of atmosphere. If I'm not mistaken, the Rebels have got a bye next. So again, a good time to get a win before you go into the bye. And as I mentioned, the Lions travel to Auckland to play the Blues, which right now is looking like a pretty tough ask. But with the Blues, you do never know. Next one, Sharks, Jaguares. As I mentioned, I watched this one in full, but kind of as I was watching the Six Nations at the same time, and that being an international, I did have my eyes probably more on that one than I did this one. This one I thought was pretty entertaining from what I saw. A fair few big breaks, and that guy Fussy is just absolutely dangerous. On another day, he probably could have had a couple of try assists or at least a couple of tries, but not to beat today. Andrews, who I kind of gave a shout out to the other day as having a good season, he proved it again. There was a tip pass to him and he dummied to make it 5-0 early. Bosch kicked things pretty well today in terms of keeping the scoreline ticking over with penalties. Notche is another one. He's having a phenomenal season. He was rewarded with a try from a quick tap, and he stripped one of the Jaguares guys on defense later. So he is having a real kind of next level season. He's been there or thereabouts for a while, but he's stepping it up for the Sharks this year. Jaguares turned down 3 at one point and managed to score a try to one of their guys, almost like it was Cadenas, kind of hiding in the shadows of that stand. And I'm not sure about the crowd, because the side which faces that the camera looks at is the side in the sun, and it looked fairly sparse. But then when they would show camera shots to the side which is in the shade, that one seemed relatively well attended. So with the Sharks playing as well as they are, I hope they get decent crowds. I'm not sure what the final numbers were, but yeah, I hope that was as well attended as it looked on that side of the ground, even if the other side was not looking that fantastic. But yeah, they had a guy hiding in the shadows for a cross kick. He got it. 12-5, Sharks penalty, 15-5. Esterhazen got a try after Fussy had gone close, and Esterhazen was having a blockbusting run as well, 22-5. Tukelet, I actually thought had a pretty good game. Even though if I was going to choose my Jaguares back three, he's probably not there. He kind of proved a bit of a point today. He got a try. Bosch managed to hit the crossbar with one of his penalties, but he ended up getting 3 penalties throughout the game, as I said, just to keep the score ticking over. Other tries from Furin for the Sharks, and Cancellieri got one towards the end for the Jaguares. Fussy did get yellow carded, which was unfortunate, but so did Bertrano. So both sides had yellow cards. It seemed to kind of even itself up. The Jaguares will be disappointed at the death. They couldn't quite get that one last try to get within a bonus point, if my maths is right. They could have got 26, 27, 29, 30, 33. Yeah, they could have just. But, yeah, not quite. And I guess the Sharks as well will be disappointed because they got 4 tries. Jaguares got 3. In a game where it's that kind of scoreline, and they, like I said, they kept it ticking over with penalties, they seemed dominant enough at times to potentially go ahead and get 3 tries ahead, but also kind of wasn't to be. So no bonus point for either team, but a solid win for the Sharks. They continue to prove their case to potentially be the strongest team in the South African Conference. And interestingly, they have the Stormers next week, so those sides are both going to duke it out to see who is the strongest in the South African Conference at the moment. The Jaguares at the moment are slightly falling off the pace. They've got the Highlanders back in Argentina next week though, so good chance for them to bounce back with a win. In terms of this game, 379 to 273 was the run meters. That's in favour of the Sharks. Position and territory, Sharks 52, Jaguares 48, so slightly edged it, but not much in it. Jaguares' tackling percentage was well below the Sharks, though. Sharks were 88, Jaguares 81, so kind of almost 90 and almost 80, so it's a big difference in the overall scheme of things. Fussy, as I mentioned, 98 run meters, 4 defenders beaten, 3 clean breaks. He is still electric. Alamano for the Jaguares had 10 out of 11 tackles, so he was making his tackles stick. But yeah, it's another loss for the Jaguares. So still yet to see where their season is quite going to go. The Sharks are tracking very, very well. The last one, Bulls Highlanders. This one I've only seen the highlights, and thank goodness for that, because that uniform clash at the start of this game, oh my word, that is terrible. How on earth did they let these teams run out onto the field in virtually identical uniforms? That is just a joke. Like, even in school sports, they don't let teams run out wearing the same colours and the same similar patterns. This was an absolute farce. Thank goodness the Bulls changed into a yellow kit at halftime. Because, like, from the highlights, at one point there was a kick through and 4 guys chasing. You couldn't tell how many of them were attacking and how many were defending. No idea. Stupid. Unbelievable. Like, Super Rugby has enough problems without putting teams in the same kit. Like, a joke, honestly. And some of you guys have been asking, where's my jersey rankings video? I will do one, but I try to wait. After the first year I did it, I realized sometimes the advertising shots of the kits don't match up what's the one that's really worn. So I figure I'll see if I can see most of the team's kits in action first before I do the review. So we're not too far away from that now because I've seen most of them. Highlanders, man, if you're wearing a dark blue home kit, you can't pick a dark blue away kit as well. You need to pick a different color. Even go back to your fluoro green. It was horrible, but at least it was a different color. The Blues have been guilty of that as well, where they've had like a mostly light blue with a bit of dark blue home kit, and then a mostly dark blue with a little bit of light blue away kit. No, just go with a different color. It's not that tricky. Nah. Rant over, but that was just honestly ridiculous. The Highlanders started early, got a try to Ioane, 7-0, but the Bulls, especially in that second half, really turned up the heat. They scored a more try to Fasaki in the first half. They missed the conversion, and the Highlanders did kick a penalty. So the Highlanders were 10-5 up at half-time, but the second half, apart from a Highlanders penalty, was all the Bulls. Like, the Highlanders got the first points to make it 13-5, but then Haaland gets one. He's just kind of cruised then. He made it look really easy. Speckman got the first of his 3, sniping from the base of the ruck. His second one was with a blood nose and paper sticking out of it. It was after a Haaland line break. And then he scored one with just space out wide on the left wing to get his hat trick. But yeah, second half. And Hendricks got one right on full time as well. Highlanders got past it, knocked it pretty much straight to him. So yeah, absolutely phenomenal win for the Bulls. They were the last team to get a win. They finally got off the mark, and they do it in bonus point style at home. The crowd was decent for a team which hasn't got any wins, honestly, from what I've seen, and for watching 2 teams in the same uniform, surprised they could tell. But yeah, man, I don't think anyone really saw that much of a win coming. I mean, both sides have been poor. It's a bit of an all-new low for the Highlanders. Their season is looking concerningly bad. Run meters 499 to 375. Possession, Bulls 64%, and territory 64-36. Bulls lineout was 100%. Highlanders 73. Bulls tackling was 80. So was the Highlanders. Penalties was 9 apiece. But yeah, man, the Bulls, what's an effort. And it's great because they've got backs like Haaland, Speckman, and Hendricks. I think I even said that in the preview, that these guys have got attacking potential, and it's really, really nice to see all three of them on the board. That's fantastic. So, very good effort from the Bulls to get off the mark. Bit concerning for the Highlanders. They're going to have to change things up. Away trip to the Jaguares next week. The Bulls are also away. They're going to travel to Australia to play the Reds, so neither of those games will be easy. I guess one thing that counts in the Highlanders' favour is, or at least it's equal, that both sides will be travelling from South Africa, so there's no real rest or travel advantage to either side because they'll both be travelling. Also, to be fair, both sides blew a chance to try at 1 minute, like it was end-to-end stuff, and both sides weren't able to convert, so yeah, but overall, Bulls well valued for their win. Speckman and Hendricks both had over 100 run meters, so they were in top form. Frizzell had 13 out of 14 tackles, but in a losing shift. So yeah, that's Super Rugby round number 6 in the bag. Blues looking remarkably, surprisingly good, even if it is with 12 against 15 at times. We'll take them how we can get them. Rebels season is maybe back on track. Lions are in trouble. Bulls season maybe back on track, or at least starting. Highlanders looking a bit in trouble. And the Sharks are really looking like the real deal. Jaguares middling. So we'll see how things go. You guys let me know your thoughts on the games. That uniform debacle. And yeah, drop us a like if you like. That'd be appreciated. It helps the videos out. Comments, all that jazz. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.